Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review The Shrouds, the latest film from writer-director David Cronenberg. And this focuses on Karsh, an innovative businessman and grieving widower, builds a device to connect with the dead inside a brutal burial shroud. And this film is certainly finding Cronenberg in an interesting place in his career because he had his 80s peak of hard genre flicks with body horror out the wazoo, and then in the 2000s much more grounded stories with more psychological thrills and stuff like that that just had like this groundedness but really focused on flaws of humanity and the human condition. And of course with Crimes of the Future really went back to that like prime focus of what his filmmaking and storytelling was, and here you have a bit of that more mature kind of feel of Crimes of the Future with something much more grounded in terms of the human condition that this film is trying to explore. Obviously it has some interesting technological and like science fiction kind of elements of these machines, these projectors of the dead underground, and how that is leveraged. But this film, I have to say right off the bat, has a glacial pace for a 2-hour film, and this is going to be the biggest challenge for audiences. And it starts off with Karsh, who's played very well by Vincent Cassel, who offers an enigmatic and mysterious kind of presence, but also at times very raw and emotional and in the moment. And he just has this interesting mix of things as he anchors his story down and we process what he's going through losing his wife, but then also the challenge of, forgiving those who are not here anymore as he starts to unsurface some unsavory things about their relationship. And the challenges of forgiveness and dealing with grief. But where this film does inject some body horror is in the natural body horror of aging, us breaking down, and these elements of our body not working the way they should be or supposed to be. And I feel like that's an interesting layer of how Cronenberg can inject that body horror elements. And like you see some of these characters with giant scars and missing limbs, and it's just like, boom, there it is. And there's that Cronenberg. But this is sleek and stark in the way it's crafted. Howard Shore's score brings a haunting aura and unnerving atmosphere to the film, and just really crafts, from a technical standpoint, a really effective film, even if the pacing is a bit of a slog at certain points throughout the film. But I think Cassel is matched well with Diane Kruger, who I love and don't get to see her enough. She's playing multiple characters and each bringing these different personalities and physicalities to each of these elements. Guy Pearce, who's this paranoid conspiracy kind of character, and he really embodies that well. And you even have Sandrine Holt, who plays an alluring and sexy and seductive kind of temptress to Karsh here, who's struggling, like, do I get back into the game? And then he's developing these connections. And, like, this marriage probably wasn't the greatest from the beginning, to be honest. And you really get that kind of vibe, but it's about the grief. It's about the loss. It's about processing those things while also dealing with aging. And how aging really comes up on us and completely changes our experience. And I feel like Cronenberg hitting on the grief of his own life and this aging, getting more mature, but also body diminishing, those things are channeled well into this film. I feel like this is going to be one of those kinds of films that is going to alienate a lot of people. And I feel like there's a lot of work on the audience's end to really engage in this. But it is, if you get into its frequency and click in, it is a satisfying and worthwhile experience for sure. But those are my thoughts on The Shrouds. Let me know what you think and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.